cool to the touch. Your very being is softened by fire as you take hits that shape you. Christine is a transformational life coach dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs to create a whole life success on their terms. On this show, you will be forged into a magnificent, powerful, highly functional work of art that is your significant life. Now, here's your host, Christine Clark.
Join me, Coach Christine Clark, as we forge our lives. We are going to go beyond the curve and call in your unique destiny. Who will you be when you believe you have what it takes?
Well, hello. I am Coach Christine Clark. Glad to be with you here today on the fourth Tuesday of the month. What is it needed to have what it takes, to believe that you have what it takes? You know, life is happening, and how do we switch from overwhelm into action? And that's what we're going to talk about today. You know, to get beyond the curve, to call in your destiny, it requires belief that you have what it takes, that you can hang in there. And, you know, we're molded from birth, and we plan, or sometimes we don't plan, to live meaningfully. And yet through life, there are processes that shape and that hone us and that refine us, and to become the beautifully, highly effective works of art that we are. And there's purpose in every phase for us. And so today we're going to just kind of walk through those. I want to let you know that there is a giveaway, a laser coaching program to Blaze in 2022. Just send me your email, your name, your phone number, and email to me at Christine@sunglowtransformation.com. The winner is going to be selected on March 1st, so get your entry in by the end of the month, which is the 28th. And you get to hear the very first public announcement of a retreat. So save the date for a deeply transformational retreat in September, the 22nd through the 25th of 2022. You will vision, you're going to call up strength within, you're going to blast through your sabotage to burn bright in the world at the Blaze Retreat. And this fully experiential retreat includes hand forging. And I'm just so tickled to be able to offer this, that each person will be able to make a simple piece using fire, tongs, and a hammer. So save the date, September 22nd through 25th. You know, in the initial forging, the making of the katana, the bar gets drawn out. It gets brought up from just being a chunk of steel into a long, drawn out piece that is the beginnings of the katana. And in that initial forging, you know, the smith has to put it in the heat to get it hot, to make it malleable. We as human beings are malleable. We are soft, we're easily shaped, and we're impressionable and imprintable. You know, think back to your earliest childhood memories. And in our childhood, there are some internal blocks to our beliefs and our values and our drivers. Everything is formed when we are very impressionable. And as we go through life, some of the things that solidify serve us and some of it doesn't. But I think back to, you know, growing up, what were some of the simple things, like learning to ride a bike? I remember learning to ride a bike. And for me, it was a solo venture. I put the bike on the street and pushed off from the curb and tried to keep balance and pedal a little bit, and then would run back into the curb, and did that process again and again and again. So over the course of maybe 2 or 3 hours in an afternoon, I learned to ride a bike. As the arcs away from the curb got longer and longer, I was able to maintain balance and pedal the bike at the same time. And think about those things when you grow up. What kinds of memories do you have? What solidifies for you? Do you ever remember being disciplined? You remember if it meant or what you got in trouble for or what you didn't get in trouble for? I have a clear vision in my head of being spanked once when I was in the garage and having the arm held and my hand going back to protect my bottom. And I remember there being no clue what it was thanked for. That piece of the memory is gone, but the actual act hangs in there. And there are different pieces that we put together from our memories. Like for me, getting the lead in the high school play. The part required emotion. And as we were doing the readings, I thought back to having recently lost a pet. I brought forward that emotion and I was able to cry at the appropriate time during the reading and got myself the lead in the play. And that was really exciting to have happen. What kinds of things have you done where you have stepped up in power, stepped up in confidence, and what kind of solidification in what you did when you were little? One time's a piece for me, one of the other memories that surfaces as I'm going through thinking, what am I going to talk about today? Want to bring up these memories, and popped into my head junior high, having a bag full of candy brought to school to give away to people on my birthday, and having one particular boy in homeroom session get much more of the candy than he probably should have. I should have given him one piece. He was kind of cute, but nobody I really liked. And then I kept giving him the candy until finally at some point I said no. But it was because I didn't learn how to set boundaries, hadn't learned how to say no, hadn't learned how to draw the line when someone else was making a request in junior high. Those kinds of things are what we remember, and then we can draw meaning from those. But there's also so much that we don't remember that are influences in our lives. We learn by osmosis from our parents, from the media, from the cartoons we watch, from the school we went to, the climate we lived in, the food we ate. I've come to the conclusion that whatever brand of something you ate as a child, that becomes your standard for what is good, what is best. For us, there's a store brand of graham cracker that we like, and we've tried the name brands, and the flavor wasn't good, the texture wasn't good, but we did that. And that's part of learning through osmosis. So we learn and we are malleable, and it carries through. And I'm driven to guide other people in the initial formation of those memories to go back to where they started and reveal the heroic takeaways. So when you are shaking loose the disempowerment, sometimes we carry forward into adulthood things that we learned as kids that don't serve us anymore. To be able to call in the capacity and the ability that each of us has, that lights me up. I love taking something that as a memory that was disempowering and going back into the core, the root of it, rewriting that story, and then pulling out the greatness that comes from that. There's nothing like that to shift the power of a memory, of a thought, of something that happened as a child, and transform it for something that is, I am not valuable, or I was not valued, to I have value, I have meaning, this gave me strength. That is the best. The bottom line is that there is empowerment in the purpose and the meaning of all our experiences. We're going to take a break. And what does it mean to be intentional? How can you set yourself up to succeed? What is in the pre-curve? And that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. I'm Coach Christine Clark. You can find me on my website, sunglowtransformation.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Coach Christine Clark and Sunglow Transformation. Remember to sign up for the laser coaching program to Blaze in 2022. There are 4 focused private sessions with me, Coach Christine. All you have to do is send your name, your phone number, and email address to me, Christine at sunglowtransformation.com. The winner will be selected on March 1st. We'll be right back after this break.
All right, all clear.
Imagine what it would be like to turn your pain into purpose. Tune in to Transformation with Martinet every second and fourth Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Martinet and her guests are here shining their lights today through empowering stories of hardship and transformation. Begin to see your life in a new light. Visit MartinetEmmons.com and tune in every second and fourth Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific to Transformation with Martinet.
You're driven, and it totally shows. Your career is taking off, you're killing it in the mom game. But did your health needs make it on the plate this week? Tune in to the Boss Up Babe radio show, where Carissa Adkins helps babes show up, boss up, and thrive. Every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Become the boss babe you were meant to be. To sign up for one of Carissa's group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.
Optimize your breast cancer screening without any radiation or pain. Effective, sensitive, and widely used thermal imaging in Europe is now available to you here in the U.S. Using state-of-the-art FDA-approved camera, Eastside's first and only breast thermography clinic is now open in Bellevue. Safe, sensitive, low cost, no referrals needed. Contact Holistic Medical Center at 425-451-0404 or on the web, drdarvish.com.
We figured by the time we turned 50, we kind of had life figured out, but we were not prepared for the realities of midlife. Tune into And That's When I Realized, the truth and comedy of midlife, with me, Susan Dolce.
And me, Leon Dyer, every second and fourth Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. You're not alone in these challenges, and sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Find us at SusanDolce.com
and LeonDyer.com.
Tune in to the Sacred Attunement Show with Asher Countryman, unlocking the power of mind, body, soul abundance. Tune in every first and third Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join Asher as she guides you to sacred attunement. Align your mindset and your actions to master your life's purpose. Discover more at sacredattunement.com.
When trauma is stored in the body, it can subconsciously affect and determine our life experience. Learn how the mind connects with the body and how you can pursue your own healing and growth so that your line shines brighter than ever. On the Law of Attraction Traction with host, my mom, Corinne Beerfield, every third Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. To learn more about Corinne and her services as a holistic, heart-centered counselor, visit CorinneBeerfield.com.
All right, ready to come back? All right, stand by.
All right, and we are back. Are you a planner? You know, I love planning and organizing. That's kind of one of my things. Recently, we got a new bed, and with that, rearranged the entire bedroom. We have knocked out a wall. We've got two rooms that became the bedroom. My office is at one end. And when brought in the new bed, we moved everything. And I got out the grid paper, made all the little paper cutouts for the footprint of all the different sizes of what the bed is and the dressers of the desk and the filing cabinet, and figured it out where it all goes. I love doing the planning, and then of course, then you have the grunt work of actually doing the moving. But in the making of the katana, the Japanese style sword blade, there is the pre-curve. And that is when the smith sets the blade up to put on the edge. And it's put into a great big curve. You can kind of see that. This is the point. And the real cool thing about this is the edge is actually the inside of the curve. Because as the material is hammered down and the bevel put on, it straightens the blade. The material has to move somewhere, and when you pre-curve it, as you put the edge on, then you come up with a straight piece with an edge. And so it's planning. Howard, my husband, the smith, it's intentional. There's a plan. There's a purpose to the pre-curving. And for us, what does it look like to be intentional? Intention starts with vision. There has to be a vision. If you don't conceptualize what your desired life is, what you want to create, it's extremely difficult to obtain. In my life, I felt that there was mostly what I was doing was the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, what was expected. And I didn't really learn about visioning until I was in my late 40s. So you don't want to just say that I want something better, but to define in detail what better was. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? And when I learned all that, it was a revelation that by getting crystal clear on the desire, the destiny, the outcome, the goal, then I could call it in. I could bring it into me. And that's what the pre-curve is setting it up so then you can take the steps to bring it to fruition. So maybe you're like one of the millions of people out there that want a better relationship. So you have to define better. And I'm a little bit of a hard butt on this because clarity is king. And I will push for clarity. What does better mean? Well, does it mean that I can speak honestly and openly? Does it mean I am fear-free in my relationship? Does it mean there's laughter in the relationship? Does it mean we have sex 4 times a week? Define it. Get clear. Get crystal clear on it. And then when you define it, then you can bring it in. You're set up with a pre-curve. You know what you're shooting for. Now you can have a plan and put together a plan. For me, part of my growth in deepening my relationship with my husband was to learn to speak up, speak my truth, to answer honestly rather than with an answer that was protecting him, protecting me, not having to face what was. And we've been doing this for a lot of years. Came up just recently. We have different opinions about cookware and what cookware should be used for and which pieces should be used for what. I want him to not deep fry in the Teflon pan because those extreme temperatures in Teflon make the Teflon come off. Something that I think everybody should know and should just know, right? You don't do that. Recently, he was cooking and fried chicken in the Teflon pan. And I said, Teflon's not for frying. He came back and asked me if I was angry. And so in honesty, because I've been working on this, I was able to say, yeah, I felt a little angry. I felt a little irritated. This has been something that's been kind of a thing for a long time. Then he was able to say, I feel like I don't do anything right. And so then we managed the conversation. That was not my intention, but my goal is to answer honestly. And I'm practicing this. And so we had a great exchange after that, both of us clarifying and understanding in the moment. That's the work, to do it in the moment for us. Maybe you want to improve your workflow. Maybe you want to define what is improvement, what's better. Maybe there's a lot of brush fires, people coming and needing this or needing that throughout the day, and you're not getting an opportunity to work on your project. You're not able to focus on these bigger things because you're doing all the little stuff. So what is your goal? Well, I want fewer brush fires. I want to spend more time on my projects. Great. Now you have an idea about what you want. You're in the pre-curve, you can plan. So maybe just set the first hour of the day to focus on your project work, because then, after that, you can answer the phone or look at the email, but not the first hour. Or if stuff comes up right in the beginning of the day, set a time limit. I will only do this for so long. And then after lunch, I'm taking time to work on my projects. When you know what it is that you desire and you get crystal clear on it, that makes the stepping into planning so much easier because you've got something you're shooting for. You know, the clarity on desired outcomes really leverages your actions. Working with a client that was having some pretty severe burnout, and she was working from home and wasn't giving herself time to be away from work. She started early in the morning, worked through the day, worked through her lunch, worked late, and it was really causing deterioration in her health, in her sleep pattern, in her relationship with her kids. And so we had to define, what is it that you want? Well, I need rest. I want to honor my body and take care of it. So great. Now we have the intention. What can do that? She started taking her full hour lunch. She started setting a timer. When the timer goes off in the evening, she left work and left it for the next day. And so once you get clear on what it is you want, it helps. You know, whether you are maybe you're a financial advisor and you want to meet with people and you want to keep up with both current and potential clients. When do you take time to set those appointments? What works in your schedule? What is it important? Well, it's important to do these calls every single day. Great. What part of the day gets that done for you? Is that a first thing in the morning so it's done and checked off? Or is it an afternoon? Maybe when your energy is lagging, it's easier to reach out and leave messages for people and to connect with people. What works within your environment? And that's part of just the pre-curve, being able to get a vision, clarify the vision, and then set up for success. So then you can take those steps as the hammer tracks along and puts the edge on, straightens the blade, puts the edge, and you can do the same thing in your work by planning, making steps, going forward, and always just taking the next step. What makes sense? This is what I want. How do I achieve that? I had a client with an architect, a lot of work, would continually get stressed out because of the volume of work he was doing. And it's like, okay, is it the number or the type of jobs? He realized that it was the smaller little jobs, the decks, the tiny pieces, want to shift a wall, one thing within, and those small jobs were more energy and less satisfaction. He thrives on being able to creatively figure out large sections like additions or new construction fitting within the city codes. And so how do we achieve that? If you want fewer small projects, you want more big projects, you thrive on the puzzle, figuring things out. What does it take to do that? And what he was able to learn is that I need to raise my prices. I need to put my pricing to a point where the small jobs that those people are not going to want to spend that much money with me to figure it out. And also learning to be able to say, I am booked. I am to the max of what I can handle. It's going to be a few months or 3 months. And by able to be honest with people about the time frame, a lot of that extra work that was stressing him out just went other places, and he's still to full capacity. When you can get an idea about what you want and have a vision, then the clarity, the forward motion, the possibilities get really clear. So that's the piece within the pre-curve for you. To have a detailed vision clarifies your actions to take. And then you can plan and give yourself a framework to move in the direction of your desires. We're going to take a break here. And do you ever feel like you're wading through molasses Are you holding on to thoughts and ideas or grudges that are hampering your progress? When would you be able to let go or release? And if you didn't have those, what flow you could create in your life? And that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. I'm Coach Christine Clark. You can find me on the website, sunglowtransformation.com. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Coach Christine Clark, Sunglow Transformation. Remember to sign up to win laser coaching program, the Blaze in 2022. Send me your name, your phone number, and your email address to Christine at sunglowtransformation.com. The winner's going to be selected March 1st. You're going to get 4 private sessions with me to really work through whatever your blocks are and set you up to just really soar in 2022. Look forward to working with you. We're going to take a break and then we'll come right back.
All right, all clear.
Thank you, Benny.
Have you heard about shifting the collective vibration and consciousness on the planet? Join me, Kimberly Barrett, on the Sharing Love and Light show every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at transformationtalkradio.com to explore the depth of vibration and consciousness on our planet and learn how you can shine your love and light. To learn more, visit sharingloveandlightshow.com.
Healing has a ripple effect. One person's healing affects everyone around them. This is where the power of sharing our stories can be so important. Tune in to Playing on the Edge Radio with Megan Edge each month on Transformation Talk Radio, as Megan provides you with ways of sustaining radical and powerful changes in your life. Enact the power of radical change. To find out more about Megan Edge, visit her website at meganedge.ca.
Tune in to Knowledge Book Radio with host Marge Potasic, the 4th Tuesday each month at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Through many experiences, Marge was led to the Knowledge Book, a gift to humanity in its transition to the Golden Age that provides truth and answers. She now shares information from the Knowledge Book with you monthly on TransformationTalkRadio.com on Knowledge Book Radio. For more information, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm the host of the Dr. Pat Show, and I am the creator of the Transformation Network, doing what we do in the world of positive radio, informed, educated, positive media. Independent radio hosts and independent networks have been the face of positive messaging over the past decade. So all of us here have decided we're going to put together an independent network that is going to enable people to bring their positive message of hope, inspiration, and conscious action to the forefront. Help us create a future of amazing, uplifting stories that can be told so we can tell our children and they can tell their children of what hope and conscious action is all about.
I want to thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Feeling stuck? Journey into a new exciting reality today. Join Coach Christine Clark as she helps you forge the life you desire. Through processes that shape, hone, refine, elasticize, and transform you, go beyond the curve and call in your unique destiny. Tune into the show, Forging a Life, live every 4th Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. To work with Christine, visit sunglowtransformation.com.
All right, y'all set? Here we go.
Hello, this is Coach Christine Clark, and this is Forging a Life, going beyond the curve and calling in your unique destiny. Grinding clean is one of the steps within making the katana. And because the forming of the katana, there are still going to be some hammer tracks, and you want to smooth out all the surfaces, take away the unevenness. The human equivalent is for us releasing what does not serve us, letting go, getting rid of what slows us down, smoothing our path. You know, to grind clean, the blade has to be pressed against coarse grit belts of the grinder, and the steel easily releases the excess. As the high spots meld with the low surfaces, the blade becomes smooth, it becomes flat, and the true profile is revealed. What are the pieces that are holding you back, that are preventing flow for you? What takes away time and energy from what is desired, what you want? Are you putting priority on your children, or maybe an aging parent, or a friend that's focused on drama? To continually drop everything and to answer the call or answer their call or give your time and energy always to them. You might be sacrificing some of your own needs. You might be sacrificing some of your own desires and doing it in the guise of supporting others. It's a good, sexy excuse to be able to put other people first and focus on them. But if we do that too much, we're not moving forward for ourselves, creating the life that we want, where we get to shine. When I was running a direct sales business, I was also managing my husband's business, managing the sword business. And I would do everything and anything, for him and for his business. I was the chief financial officer. I was the administrative assistant. I was the travel agent. I was the customer care officer, as well as being a full-time mom. I was the chief bottle washer, kept the house clean, so that all he needed to do was go to the shop and produce the blades. And my business, I was also running a business, my direct sales business, was almost always a last priority. I had to release the caretaker to embrace my own value. And when I moved into coaching, that became so much easier for two things. One is, as a coach, I was really fulfilling my call in life. Everything I had learned and experienced through my whole life, running multiple businesses, fed into being the coach that I am, having the acumen to help others and move them forward. And it lit me up. I loved coaching. I loved coaching. And really, there's a passion there. And so the passion itself allowed me to focus time on me and my business and make it a priority. And consequently, doing coaching, having a coach, doing transformational work on myself as well as with others allowed me to get clear on how to go about that, clear on how to let go, clear on letting my people around me, my children, my spouse, take on more responsibility, that it wasn't up to me to care for everything all the time. And that was huge. In corporate America, we can go in early, we can stay late, and to the detriment sometimes of our health and our mental well-being by putting in all the hours. And part of it comes from just having a really, really big workload. When I was in corporate America, I had a huge workload, and I would do the go in early, and I would use the come home late and really worked hard. But also, there was a push to show up well, to perform well, to be seen. And I had to earn my value over and over and over constantly, never assured that if I let down for a little bit, that I wouldn't be slipping. But that drive to show up well at corporate took its toll on self-care, on health, on keeping the house up, on having energy for my spouse. I remember that I had a friend that had gone through the underwriting training with me, and she moved into human resources. And she called and wanted me to come over and spend some time with her on a weekend. And it was really cool. It's like that she thought of me and wanted to connect. And I went over there and we sat by the pool of her house, and I laid on that chaise lounge and fell asleep. And I was like the worst person to invite over to spend time with because I was not there present for her because I was so exhausted. It cost me a friendship. So then it's like, what's costing? What are happening? What do they have to let go in order to create flow? Well, one of the things I let go was that job to change the trajectory of my life. So what are you tolerating? When you think about it, what are you tolerating in your life? Then once you know what you're tolerating, then you can address the issues. When you think about what are the things that are taking up time, taking up energy, taking away from what I really want to create and have in my life. Once you know that, then you can decide, okay, it can be something simple, like just a small irritation. Does the door bang shut every time you go through it? Does it need the latch worked on? Do you have to pull the door shut and make sure it latches every time? Something little like that. But you can choose, okay, once you realize that you're kind of irritated or have some energy around it, what does it take to let it go? Well, you can decide, I'm not going to address it. It's there. I'm not going to take time to work on it. So I'm going to stop paying attention to it. It's called, you can decide to move on it now, move on it later, move on it never. And if it's moved on it never, then we also don't pay attention to it. Remove the distraction. If there's something that's present that is taking time from you, taking energy from you, it's a distraction. It's getting in the way of you being able to flow through your life. What is it that is? I remember having a client who had a smoke alarm where the battery had gone dead or was almost dead. And I talked with this person every 2 weeks. And I remember hearing the beeping while we were on the phone together. And then after a couple of 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions, I remember saying, what is that? Well, it's a smoke alarm. It needs to be replaced. And I had to ask her, I said, would you be willing to take that down and put a new battery in that before our next session? And when I made the request, she did it. What was interesting to me is that something like that, the piercing beep regularly with a smoke alarm, has energy, put energy into the room. And yet it became a background thing that she was not noticing. But once she replaced the battery, it was silent. She told me that there was an edge of vibration that had been present in her life that was gone because it was there. And that's what some of our tolerations can be. So the grinding has to take being aware of it, so then you can make a choice to release it. Grinding on the blade takes abrasion and pressure, and it creates heat and leaves a smooth surface. For us, it takes awareness and then choosing to create that smooth surface. And how do you do it? Do you address and fix the thing? Do you address and say what you need to say? Or do you say, that is so small, I'm going to leave it and I'm not going to put energy towards it? All of those things clear the path to create flow in your life. And we deserve flow. You deserve flow. And when you release what does not serve you, your growth is in flow. And the time and the energy and the focus show up to quickly move you forward. You will have that fresh breath of clean air. And you'll wonder maybe why it took you so long to move on that thing. What you can celebrate is that you have the awareness and you did move on it. And now you have that fresh air, you have that flow, you're able to move forward. And that's worth celebrating. We're going to take a break here in just a minute. The last change comes from internal transformation. And when there's internal transformation, the changes that are created there are the strongest, the most lasting. And what does it look like to have durable resiliency? That's the question. I'm Coach Christine Clark. You can find me on my website, which is sunglowtransformation.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Coach Christine Clark and at Sunglow Transformation. Someone's going to get a laser coaching program to blaze in 2022. It could be you. Send your name, your phone number, and your email address to Christine@sunglowtransformation.com. The winner will be selected March 1st, so get your entry in by February 28th at midnight. And also mark your calendars for September 22nd to 25th for the Blaze Retreat. And we're going to be right back after this last break.
All right, all clear.
Thank you.
We are courageously expanding love on my new show, The Elizabeth Cunningham Show, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join me and my guests where we talk about relationships, sex, love, and the ways we wish we could be but never thought were possible. Visit ElizabethAnnCunningham.com and subscribe.
Are you feeling lost in this journey we call life? When you awaken the truth of your patterns, limitations, and beliefs, you can start to heal relationship with yourself, others, and your circumstances. I'm Ritika Rose, life coach, author, and speaker. My mission is to help you align with your most powerful, authentic self and transform how you experience your inner and outer world. Find the confidence and peace to live the highest version of your life. Visit RitikaRose.com.
Life can be demanding, but sometimes our wheels are spinning and we're too focused on making them turn to notice we're stuck in the mud. Tune into The Pause with me, Ellen Wyoming Deloy, every second and fourth Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Learn how to stop, reflect, and start moving forward with intention. And if you're really looking to jumpstart your personal development, schedule a free coaching consultation with me at ellenwyomingdeloy.com. Tune in to the Be Happy Now show with me, Claudia Sam. Flex your soul connection muscle and be your inner guide to fulfillment. Every Thursday on TransformationTalkRadio.com. You are here for a bigger reason and are worthy of accessing it. Experience happiness now. Tune in to your intuition and connect with me. Visit ClaudiaSamCoaching.com.
Want to ignite your best life full of joy, passion, and purpose? Then join me, Stephanie James, for The Spark, Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, on TransformationTalkRadio.com, and learn how together we can illuminate the world. Learn more on stephaniejames.world. The best is yet to come.
Tune in to Hungry for Answers every first and third Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com with me, Robin Clare. I am a recovery coach, professional, and best-selling author, bringing you eye-opening conversations about addiction and groundbreaking tools for recovery. To learn about me and my offerings, visit clarity.com. That's Claire, CLARE-ITY.com.
All right, stand by.
Hello, I am Coach Christine Clark. Welcome back. This is Forging a Life Beyond the Curve, calling in your unique destiny. I'm here every fourth Tuesday of the month, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. One of the final steps in the making of the katana is the thermal cycling. And the greatest transformation that is attained is internal. And that's whether you're working with metal or working with people. You know, all of the steps that form the katana also create a really big, chunky internal microstructure in the steel. And if you think about having great big cinder blocks versus something like fine white sand, and the big cinder blocks within the microstructure of the steel aren't the best because they will promote the blade to crack, or the blade won't hold its resiliency. It might not hold its edges well. And so once it's done being shaped and formed and gorgeous on the outside, it goes through the internal transformation of thermal cycling by putting into a salt pot, a giant tube of molten red hot salt, and it's dipped in there and then pulled out and dipped in and pulled out. And that intense heat for periods of time and then allowed to cool and then go through the process again, break down and refine the molecules so that they become that fine sand, and which adds resiliency, toughness, edge holding ability, and all of the pieces that you expect from a high quality katana. And it provides exceptional strength and edge holding. And for us, internal change, transformation, for it to be permanent, we have to shift internally. That's where the greatest changes happen. And the internal shifts can happen in different ways. You can have it through just simple repetition. When you have muscle memory that's in your cells, that's transformation. That is something that you can hold on to. You remember learning to tie your shoes? I don't actually remember learning to tie my shoes, but I know I can just go and I tie my shoes and it's automatic. I don't even think about it. It just happens. I'm not a very athletic person, but dribbling a basketball, right? To learn how to dribble a basketball, first of all, you have to learn to bounce the ball and have it come back to your hand instead of running across the floor and going somewhere else. And so you practice dribbling the basketball, bouncing it, catching it, bouncing it, catching it. And then until you can continuously bounce it and have it stay with you. And then from there, you learn to move across the floor, to dribble and walk at the same time or move at the same time. And I watch a basketball game on TV and it's like poetry, the way that people can move and handle and switch which way they're going, and the ball is always with them. That comes from practice, repetition, 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 until the body knows this, it owns this, it's in the cells, and it is not a conscious thought. You don't have to think about dribbling the ball. You think about the game, you think about the opponent, you think about all the other parts that bring high quality to the professional player. If you're going to go out and network, same kind of thing. The first time you stand up and say who you are and what your company is and what you do, your palms are going to be sweaty. You may not speak as clearly as you want. You may not enunciate, and you might not look anybody in the eye. But as you continue to go out and learn to network and talk at different events, and you stand up, and then you learn to say who you are and what your business is, and then what you do. And later you can learn to also switch not what you do, but what experience people have with you, draw them into you. And then as you're talking, you're saying what is comfortable and talking about your business and drawing in energy and making eye contact. It all comes from repetition. And as you repeat the process, you hone the skill and it becomes muscle memory. That's an internal transformation. So anytime you start in a new venture or start something, it's going to be awkward until the repetition refines it and makes it smooth out, makes it work for you. The other type of transformation is the deep work of shifting beliefs and shifting drivers and shifting values. When you follow a disempowering belief down into its root and shift the story that was created there and bring forth the self-belief, bring forth the confidence, bring forth the worthiness. That's the work that I really relish doing. I like doing the deep work where we take someone and what is the block? And it goes back to an experience you had when you're little. And we look at that experience and we go back a little further and find the positive, find the happiness, and you can bring that forward. What is the interaction? What's the real truth that was in it? And what is a new meaning for them? That's huge. And I love doing that kind of deep work, because when you transform and shift and tell yourself a different story, an empowering story, then that is in your body. It is that deep shift that lasts, that sticks, that you can hang on to and go back to and anchor with. You know, when we think about spilling the milk and mom got angry and we decided that we were a klutz and we would never be graceful and we couldn't be a dancer and on and on. What happened was you were a young child, the milk was really a big thing and you spilled it all over the table, and mom was stressed because grandma was ill and it had nothing to do with you. But we formed this idea. So we go back and we really look at that event and we shift to a new perspective. Maybe the one that because you were independent and helpful as a child, that you had the milk, you were getting things for yourself to give your parents some space to deal with what they were dealing with. It all happens by going back through. And when you can get into that deep peace and shift, the transformation can be amazing and the energy is huge and it's so exciting and it just lights everything up. You know, when we come up against hardship, when we have emotional strain, we can lose track of our abilities. We can get lost in what's going on and forget that we are resilient, that we are strong, that we are capable. You can step into this transformation with a coach by rewriting a disempowering story. We can step into transformation when life gives us hardship and suffering because we learn what we're capable of. You know, and we can choose to step into the unknown, to face our fears or to do something we've never done before. That will bring us transformation. And when we stick with it until the end, when we master a skill, then we also have transformation. So there's transformation in all of these. And there is a quote that I wrote and have shared different people, but it is the hardest to believe that you have what it takes when you're in the struggle. And yet it is only in the struggle that you clarify and solidify that you have what it takes. And that's what the deep transformation is. So in the making of the katana, it's really orderly. You know, the smith starts with a bar of steel and the process is it until there's a katana. You know, in our lives, we can have any of the processes at any time, you know, and even multiple processes at the same time. You can be in the planning pre-curve, have deep transformation, be releasing what doesn't serve you, and still be influenced by your initial molding from a child. The truth in creating the katana provides a framework for understanding ourselves and the energies of life happening. And becoming takes effort, and it's a process. And when you can trust the process, then you can believe that you really have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you had some great takeaways. Share them with me. I'm Coach Christine Clark. You can find me on my website at Sunglow Transformation. Look up me on social media at Sunglow Transformation and also at Coach Christine. Someone's going to get a laser coaching program. Submit your name, your phone number, and your email address to Christine at sunglowtransformation.com. The winner will be selected March 1st. Until next time, keep forging your life.
All right. All clear. Thanks, Christine.